Welcome to Coast Gaming Central Podcast, our E3 Day 2, or also known as the Xbox Play Press Conference Day reactions
With Bethesda.
with Bethesda and Devolver Digital. This
Yeah.
is
Oh yeah.
MK Guy, also known as Jaron Dorsey, and of course, my partner in crime, my brother from another mother, same father, Mr. Corgan, the Krogan. How you doing?
Nothing is true. Everything is permitted.
Exactly. So,
It's an Assassin's Creed thing.
we are here to talk about what we witnessed at the time of this recording. It would have been yesterday, um, June June 11th, which was the Xbox E3 press conference, the big Scorpio reveal, and then also we'll touch on a little bit of Bethesda. And I'll be honest, Devolver didn't really do much, so we're probably not going to talk about them at all. But yeah, so that's what I got for you, and we're gonna just hop right into it. Don't want this to go too long because
Alright.
E3 has a lot of stuff still coming. So um, we're gonna go ahead and we'll hop right in with Xbox. They came right out the gate and they gave Scorpio a name. Scorpio is no longer Xbox One Scorpio. It is Xbox One X. So that's the name on that. Corgan, got any thoughts on the name, or are we just gonna just move on with life?
Um, I'll say this. I'm kind of worried they might run into similar situations with the Wii U and the Wii with some of these names now. And now parents are might get a little confused. Is it the Xbox One that you want, son? The Xbox One S? The Xbox One X? I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. I will say this: if
It'll
there's
be
any
interesting to see how that works.
if any of you guys had any retailers that were still selling those original Xbox Ones, might want to take a look at that clearance bin because I'm pretty sure Microsoft wants those things moved out quickly. Just saying, if you want to get one on the cheap, that might be a good way to go. Anyway,
Hmm.
um, yeah, so it's called Xbox One X now, no longer Scorpio. It will cost $499 US dollars, so a solid $500, which they did not say at that moment in time. They waited till the end of the conference, but I'm gonna say it now. Um, God, I think they really messed up with the price on that. If you want my honest opinion.
I mean, I was expecting I was expecting 450. So yeah, I mean, I think they're just barely, they're right on the edge of going to where it's just way too ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, they did always say it was gonna be a premium price console, so
Yeah,
I guess
that
they
is
were right.
that's true. And I guess, but man, like when you just compare the PS4 Pro to the Xbox One X, that
Yep.
$100 difference essentially just boils to the biggest difference between the two consoles, and other than just specs, like in terms of stuff people actually care about, probably be that
Hmm.
Scorpio actually does have an Ultra HD Blu-ray drive in it, and the PS4 Pro doesn't.
Yep. And backwards compatibility.
Well, yeah,
All
and
the way
backwards
back to the
compatibility all the
OG
way. Yeah.
bus. So,
Um,
which was another announcement they made. Yep, all your OG Xbox, as in the one that came out 2 generations ago. All those games, or at least a good amount of them anyway, are going to be backwards compatible on the Xbox One.
yep,
All of the Xbox Ones, not just the X. So
yep, yeah.
if you have an
Everything that they
S or
mentioned,
even a 6.
everything. Yeah, let me say this: everything that we talk about, even though it'll maybe perform or look better on Xbox One X, all these games will be available on Xbox One S and the original Xbox One, which is called Durango.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, so just keep that in mind. Every feature, everything we talk about, it's available across all Xbox Ones. So,
Yep.
which is nice, but then it also doesn't give you
Hmm.
much reason to buy the new box either. Um, so With that being said, they started off the press conference with Forza 7, which is of course, how are you going to show off your new system, so to speak.
4K Super Beast system. Yeah.
Yep, use cars, and yeah, the game looked phenomenal. There's no doubt about
Yeah,
it.
I mean, I know this is kind of cliche at this point to say, but yeah, I really could not tell it was fake. It looked like real life.
Yeah,
Like, I'll give them that. That's one thing about racing games. You can make them look real, real pretty.
yep.
And that they
Now,
did.
now the Porsche on stage was a little bit of a snooze fest.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that, but whatever.
But regardless, the game looks awesome. If you had a Scorpio, that would be a game I would pop into somebody just looking to see what it can do.
Mhm.
That would be a good choice there. So yeah, Forza comes out this year. Comes out in October. I forgot the exact date. Comes out in October, and then of course, when the Xbox One X launches, it'll be ready to go for all the 4K, so on and so forth. So
Mhm.
that's good. Um, let's see here. What else am I forgetting? Oh yeah. So then up next, well, actually, I don't know exactly what they did next per se. We're just gonna hit the highlights.
Yeah.
They showed 42 games.
It was a long press conference, folks, a
Yeah,
full 2 hours. So
yeah,
if we get some info, if we forget something, it's not because we're saying it's a bad game or bad feature or anything. It's just a lot to go over. So
yeah. I would say
just a
next
little bit.
next major game they showed was State of Decay 2,
Hmm.
um, which
Which that game looks pretty cool.
yeah,
That.
the game looks cool. Um,
Mhm.
looks like an upgrade over State of Decay 1, which I still haven't played. I know it originally released on 360, and then they dropped the definitive version on Xbox One. Maybe that's a game I should pick up on Xbox One, actually. State of Decay. Try it out. Um, but yeah, it
It
looked
looked
cool.
had some interesting ideas like needing to decide on if you want to save somebody who's infected or put them out of their misery and stuff like that. Yeah, also, I remember they said the first State of Decay did not have co-op. Apparently, this one has four-player co-op, so that's cool. And yeah,
Yep,
looks
I
like a
mean, that's
fun
another
zombie
one of
game.
those games where if you have an Xbox, that's something you kind of just play. That's one of their games now.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, definitely look cool. Check out that trailer if you want to check that out. Um, next major game on the Microsoft front after that. What was the next one? Would have been Sea of Thieves.
Oh. Sea of Thieves. Yep.
Yeah, which I'll let
That
you
was a
I'll let you talk about that
Yeah,
because
that
you
one looked real
yeah
cool. It's I mean, I'm a big fan of like Assassin's Creed Black Flag, as a lot of folks know, and a big part of that is because I'm a big fan of pirates. So, Sea of Thieves is pretty much a co-op pirate adventure where you can go and hunt for treasure and stuff like that, and get in sword fights and shoot blunderbusses and cannons. You can get in cannons and shoot yourself, really goofy like. So. It looks like a good step back to form for Rare, who kind of definitely fell off over to the Xbox 360 era. But yeah, Sea of Thieves looks pretty nifty. If I had a few friends in an Xbox, yeah, I'd definitely say give that one a shot. That's one of their most promising looking exclusives, in my opinion.
Yep, so that
So,
shows Sea of Thieves still no release date on that, if I remember
yeah, they just
correctly.
said I think they just had a window at
Yeah,
best.
2018,
Uh,
right?
yeah, not sure
Yeah.
when in 2018, but yeah. So hopefully that'll come next year. Was Cuphead between those two? I can't remember if Cuphead was between or after
It was somewhere in
Sea
there,
of
but we can
Thieves.
just go there. Cuphead.
Yeah.
Um, Cuphead drops in September, which I'm actually excited about. Really can't wait to
Hmm.
play Cuphead. I love the art style of this game. Looks a lot like I said, like the old, like the Popeye cartoons from back in the day. Um,
Hmm.
really love the art style of this game. was shown a couple years ago at E3. I think it even won like a few Game of the Shows. Like people really enjoyed it when they saw it. We haven't seen it since. Um,
Yeah. So
and now
that's
it's
coming out
back,
in
and
September, I believe. September 27th, I
you
think
know,
was the
comes out.
date.
I think so, or just 23rd maybe.
Mhm. Yeah, sometime in this September. So good to see that one finally coming out. Looks like a fun little 2D platformer.
Yep.
Um, Speaking of platformers, they announced one that I've never heard of and until that press conference, Super Lucky's
Super
Tale or
Lucky's
something like
Tale. Yep.
that. Yeah, it's a new 3D platformer coming from Microsoft, and that game looked pretty cool too.
Yeah,
It's
had a hell of a lot
launching
more
in a bit of
platforming than
a
Neck.
crowded year with Mario and Sonic and
Knack.
yeah. But I'll say this: I definitely think that game looks better than any Knack ever did. But
Oh, yeah, no kidding.
yep, no, Super Lucky's Tale, that game looked pretty cool. So good to
Yeah,
see
kudos for them for
3D
doing that.
platformers
And
trying
I
to
will
make
say
a comeback as well as new ones.
kudos for Microsoft. You know, in particular with um, that game, that platform we're just talking about.
Super
Um,
Lucky's Tale.
yeah, and Sea of Thieves. Like, kudos for them for doing IPs that people usually don't associate Xbox exclusives with. You know, like we always think shooter. Like we always think about the next game we're about to talk about, Crackdown, for instance. Like Crackdown 3, like
Yeah.
that seems like the Xbox exclusive, right? Shooter, bro shooter.
Yeah.
But like, here they are coming out with a platformer, coming out with Sea of Thieves, coming out with Cuphead. Kudos to them for
hmm
that. Having some
Yeah, really
diversity,
weird, different exclusives.
which they've
In
been
fact,
doing that for a
honestly, I
little
think
bit.
Crackdown. In fact, honestly, I think Crackdown 3 was probably their weakest exclusive showing.
Yeah,
At
surprisingly,
least to me, that
at least in
trailer
that
did
trailer,
not
yeah,
impress at all.
yeah, at least in that trailer, maybe something different. Maybe something will change. When
hmm
people actually get their hands on it. But that trailer didn't do it any
Yeah,
justice. But then I
they
think
did
back
show a
though,
lot of the.
like last year, you remember the Final Fantasy 15 Xbox One trailer they did?
hmm
Like that or
Yeah,
gameplay, like that was pretty bad.
yeah, that
So
was not the best showing for that game at all.
yeah, so maybe there's still hope. But in terms of that press conference, yeah, it didn't. It was the weakest exclusive show.
Yeah, and
And I'm
for a
still
lot
gonna.
of folks that have been keeping up with Crackdown 3, they did not show any of the over-the-top buildings getting blown up and falling down thing that you saw way back when Xbox was still gonna have all those, cloud computing and everything going
Yeah,
on.
but they
So
do got Terry
I have a
Crews.
feeling that feature got axed because cloud computing kind of went by the wayside.
Well, they got rid of the cloud and they picked up Terry Crews.
Hey, I will say this: it was pretty amusing to see Terry Crews
Oh yeah, I'm a
on
Terry
an
Crews
E3
fan.
stage.
Like if there's
I
any
love
reason
Terry
why I'm gonna
Crews.
pick up that game now, it's Terry Crews. No, I do like Crackdown,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, in terms of pure Xbox One exclusives, that's it. Because everything else they showed that they claimed was exclusive, it was launch exclusive, which means that it's coming out on other platforms eventually. So
hmm
we can
And the
just
rest were just world premieres.
world
Of
premieres. Yeah, we can now we can start hitting some of the the big third party games. So we'll start with Metro, which was the first one that they showed. Um,
yes,
yeah, you go ahead. I'll let you take care of that. I'm curious about it because I never played the other two Metro games, so I'm curious.
yeah. I've played the first two Metros. I bought that Metro Redux on PS4 way back near launch, and really, really, really like those games. They're really, really interesting, cool, story-based first-person shooters that the best way I can describe them is they definitely felt like a thinking man's first-person shooter. It was not just kind of just blow everything away. It was like because it's in a real, authentic feeling post-apocalyptic world. Like you actually had to worry about oxygen and stuff when you're up on the surface level of the world. and you actually had to like scavenge around for air and everything until you went underground. You could always, when you're underground, you're safe, but for the most part, still got monsters to deal with underground, but you didn't have to worry about oxygen. But anyway, games had a really cool story to them, really interesting world. But I thought that Metro Last Light, which was the second game in the series, was the last one. I was almost positive they said that was the last one. So yeah, this was a pleasant surprise for me. I'm really, really excited to play this one, and it looked great. Good Lord, really, really pretty looking game. And but that's like we were talking about. That's was only just a world premiere on their stage. That's also coming to PlayStation 4 and
Yep.
PCs.
And I will say that every game that we saw on stage, to my knowledge, were all like the quote unquote Scorpio builds of those games.
Hmm.
Which just want to throw it out there just for clarification. So, if you pick it up on your regular Xbox One or PS4 or whatever, and it doesn't look exactly like that, that's why.
True, true.
So, because I know
Yeah,
how people were,
it'll
especially
probably
with
look pretty similar like that on PS4 Pro, maybe a
PS4
little
Pro,
less
yeah,
beast, but
and PC, of
yeah,
course.
and PC, of course, yeah. But no, yeah, I was really happy to see that. I wonder if they're still gonna have the same protagonist from the first two games. I don't really want to ruin too much in the plot for those games because that's kind of a good part of the fun for those games, which is weird. Like another thing about those games to tell you about, they never had multiplayer, even though they're like on the surface they look like a kind of a bro shooter. They actually there's a lot of thought put into those games, so I'm really excited to see Metro Exodus next year.
Yeah.
Very happy with that announcement.
So that was one of the bigger third-party games. Now, what's that P? Now, I'm not looking at any notes in case you haven't noticed because we're just kind of doing this on the fly. Corgan, help me out. What's the name of that PC game, that shooter that you said people are like crazy about on Twitch that's coming out on
Oh,
Xbox?
Player Unknown's Battleground.
Yeah,
I
now
believe that's
that, from what I've heard, that actually is going to be a console exclusive for them,
that it is.
which is a
Mm-hmm.
nice get for them.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, no, that game's all the rage on Twitch right now on PC. So,
yeah,
yeah, for
so
everyone who's more of a console player, yeah, you can jump in on the fun for that one.
yep, so that's coming out, so that's cool. So
Hmm.
something we did forget in the Microsoft first party stuff. So I'll just quickly touch on it real quick because it wasn't necessarily a
Okay.
reveal. But Minecraft,
Oh
um,
yeah.
they came out and essentially just said, "Hey, we're adding this new pack with basically HD visuals because
Yep.
Minecraft
And
is
they're
really."
uniting the servers
Yep, and they're
between
uniting servers between all platforms, including
Switch
phones,
and
tablets, Switch,
Xbox.
Exbox, and PlayStation, even though they
No
didn't
word
mention it.
on. Did they say PlayStation? Okay.
Yep. No, they said all platforms. They just didn't necessarily say their name on stage.
Okay.
But
Yeah, it was really weird because yeah, during the little trailer for it, you did see a
a Switch.
Minecraft created Switch. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that was kind of weird,
Yep.
but yeah, interesting.
Which is pretty funny when you think about it. Just
It
again, just
is.
how
Yeah.
nobody seems to hate Nintendo in the industry.
I know they're like it's literally like Sony and Microsoft just think of Nintendo as like the friendly neighbor next door
Yep.
that they sometimes compete with, but not a lot.
Yep.
So, yep, good point. Forgot about that one.
Yep. So I forgot about them. So there's that. Now back to the third party stuff. I'm just gonna kind of hop around a little bit. Um,
Hmm.
Shadow Middle Earth,
Yep,
Shadow of
that's
War, I think it's
got
called.
Middle Earth: Shadow of War is the
Yep.
official title.
That game looked pretty cool actually too. Definitely was
Hmm.
eye popping. I just want to
I never
preference
played the
this.
first one, but
Oh no, me neither. But I do know that a lot of people like that game.
hmm
That comes out
and
this year.
Microsoft does have the publishing deal with it of a sort, so you might get some exclusive DLC or something like that on Xbox, or maybe get DLC on it first. That is still coming to PS4. So,
Yeah. Well,
but
yeah, of course. And also just to throw it out there, just because I want to say it, me and Corgan were watching this in 4K. Okay.
that we were.
And this game was another one of those games that looked really good. Um,
I do think the faces look a little weird, though, personally. I don't know
hmm.
why, but it just, yeah, like his cheeks looked a little too fat. Just look, he looked like the Pillsbury Doughboy to me.
Well,
That's just
Alvin.
me.
Well, maybe they're fans of Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Maybe. Hey, I ain't judging. And hey, I mean, if we're coming at Mass Effect for faces, we gotta come at them all for faces, right?
They
All right.
apparently Kotaku put up an article about why that game turned out the way it did.
Oh yeah, I heard about it. I read some of it. Sounds well, that's for another episode.
Mm,
Maybe we'll jump into that later
mm.
in another
But
episode. But
yeah.
for now,
So
we're focused on
middle
Future.
Shadow of War. I thought it looked pretty cool. Don't know if I'm gonna pick it up in this busy fall season, but for fans of that first game or Lord of the Rings in general, I'm sure all of you are very pleased. So good for you. Um,
Hmm.
my personal favorite thing, well, one of my favorite things shown on stage, which I wasn't expecting this to be shown on the Xbox stage of all stages, but
Yep, I'll give the floor to you on this
uh,
one.
the Arc System Works developed Dragon Ball Fighters was shown on the Xbox
Spelled
One
with a Z.
stage. Spelled with a Z. Yes, it is a 3v3 2.5D Dragon Ball fighting game, and I personally cannot wait. Comes out early next year. There's going to be a beta this summer on both PS4, Xbox One, and also PC, so check that out. And as of the recording of this, Bandai Namco has a full match uploaded online on their page. So if you want to watch that, you can. Um, looks looks really good. Xbox players in particular, I know you guys do have Blaze Blue over there, but you don't have Guilty Gear. Um, and this game has more Guilty Gear vibes than Blaze Blue. But I will say, if you know anything about the animation of those Guilty Gear games, you know, hey, this game basically looks like the anime because that's what they do. So, kudos to them for all that. And Corgan, I'm actually have a phone call, so I'm actually going to have you talk a little bit about
All right,
Anthem.
I got you. Oh, I was gonna go to Assassin's Creed first, but
Oh,
all right.
Assassin's Creed. Okay.
Yeah, I figured because you'd want to end on Anthem. So anyway, Assassin's Creed. That's right, folks. Finally got its first trailer. Been waiting so long. It's finally here, called Assassin's Creed Origins. The Egyptian setting was confirmed. You play as a character named Bayuk, I believe it is pronounced, or something like that. Don't quote me on that. Not Egyptian. But anyway, yeah, they showed a lot of things that they're switching around on it, and like the series staple of Eagle Vision. You know, it's no longer just highlighting all the enemies just around you. Now, instead of Eagle Vision taking place within your character, you instead take control of your little pet hawk named Siu, which is kind of funny. Get it? See you. The hawk's gonna see you and mark you. Yeah. Anyway, they so they have that new mechanic. They have what looks like this one definitely looks the most RPG-ish of any Assassin's Creed to date. They have full blown like you've leveled up and now spend an ability point and stuff like that. Whereas the other ones, like they did have RPG elements, but this one has not just the level up system, they also have a brand new armor system that looks a lot like Destiny style armor system, where you've got, like yellow weapons and you've got yellow tier weapons, green tier weapons, and I'm sure you're gonna unlock a lot of those by going into the different pyramid tombs and stuff like that. And yeah, set up in Egypt. It also they've also completely overhauled the multiplayer, the combat system in it, where a lot of anyone who's played any of the previous Assassin's Creeds knows that, you know, while you have all these other options in combat, really it all usually came down to you can pretty much just kind of counter everyone and you'll be fine. That is no longer the case in this one. Now it kind of has a more sort of Dark Souls-ish looking combat where the camera goes over your shoulder and you lock onto a guy. It even has a little dot that pops up on who you're locked onto, like Dark Souls. So that was a pretty interesting to see. Um, then the demo they showed was of you trying to assassinate this one guy, and when you got into the combat sequence, it showed him start running away, and Bayou took out his bow and arrow, and it looked like you can control the arrow's flight, at least sort of, a little bit. And the guy directed it right into the dude's head, so that gave me massive Heavenly Sword flashbacks. So, which I'm totally cool with. I love Heavenly Sword. So, yeah, that was anyway, yeah, they showed a trailer and a demo for it. So those are available for your viewing pleasure. Um,
I
was
knew you could talk about
surprised.
Assassin's Creed all by yourself.
Hey, I was kind of struggling at the end there, but I was trying to keep it going until you got back. I actually pretty much just finished. I was just kind of about to say it was a bit of a surprise to see it demoed on Xbox, but hey, it won't be the first time. If you've kept up, you know that Unity was demoed as well. So yeah. Anyway, oh, and also there's a slow-mo bow shot like a la Horizon or Breath of the Wild. So nice.
Good stuff. So,
Coming
yep.
October 27th.
And you'll
Can't
probably
wait.
see a bit more during the Ubisoft conference, which is today, as of the
Oh
day of this recording.
yeah.
Um,
Yep.
so now we can go ahead and
Now
probably
we
move
can
on
get
to
to
Anthem.
Anthem.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Hmm.
And I'll probably also concede most of this to you too, because again, this is your one of your favorite developers. But
Yeah, but you being a, not so invested BioWare fan, it'll be interesting to see your reaction to it as well.
yeah. So when I first saw it, instantly, when they pulled back that little curtain, the first thing I thought of was like, "Holy shit, this game looks awesome! Like it looked beautiful. It
Yeah,
did."
it does.
Um,
Hmm. Definitely the
God,
best looking BioWare game I've ever seen by a long shot.
yeah. I
They've
mean
made
that.
good looking games,
I mean the
but
village was
man, oh man.
populated. You go into your little mech suit thing, and then all of a sudden you're just boom, just God, just flying around Dark Void style, but it looks like the right way.
I know that's the first thing I thought of when I saw it. Like,
And they,
kind
God,
of
like they
reminds me of
showed you
Dark
if
Void in a way.
they showed you flying above land. I think they even went a little bit underwater. Uh,
Hmm.
it- yeah. Um, at
Yeah, and
first, when
then
I first
also they
saw it,
have a lot of
when I first
third-party
saw it, I
third-party
honestly
content.
thought that it was just like a single player game. It wasn't until you met up with your other squad mates I was like, whoa,
Hmm.
like this is
It's like
actually
it's a co-op game,
yeah.
or at
So
least it has co-op anyway. They did say you still can play it solo, of course, but
yeah,
yeah. And
uh,
that's co-op. They showed up to 4 players running, so for a lot of Destiny fans, you know that you can only put up to 3 players. This one was a full 4. Thank
yeah.
God.
And
That always annoys me about this.
in our party chat that we had when we were watching it with of course Mr. Money, I got a money, he got some money, no money, Mr. Money, and whole scope and crazy
Mhm.
and PJ and
A
I
lot of
think
Destiny
even
players, pretty
and I
much.
think even
So,
Monty and everybody
mhm.
was in there basically saying, "Man, Bungie is shaking in their boots."
Yeah, yeah, no doubt about it. It was a very impressive first demo. I'm not saying that they should be shaking in their boots just quite yet, though. They should definitely be alarmed.
Yeah,
But the thing is, with it being made by BioWare, they've never made any like competitive multiplayer. So if this
yeah,
is to be a Destiny competitor, like it certainly looks like it's aiming for, because they also showed like the character killing some enemy and then picking up a loot drop, and it looked very Destiny-esque. Only a little cooler. It like took up a whole side of the screen and it was just like you unlock this cool looking gun, you
Yep.
know. So that was kind of cool. But anyway, they've never done competitive multiplayer, so I'm wondering if they're gonna go there or if they're gonna just not have competitive in
I
this
don't
game.
know, but you know what? That is the
What?
literally the only reason why I plan on tuning into anything about EA at Gamescom. So,
Yeah. Yeah, to see more of that game. Another interesting fact, little tidbit I found out watching it again. They were mentioning that the suits actually pretty much sound like they act as your class, actually, and you can have multiple suits apparently. So
hmm,
it sounds like you'll no longer be tied down to this character is this character. Like in Destiny, you make a character, they're a hunter for good. Make this
hmm,
character, they're a titan for good. In this
hmm.
one, it sounds like they have multiple suits, and you can be like, today, I feel like playing as my big brute character, and so you can hop in your big brute suit for today,
Yeah.
which is really cool. I really like that idea. That way, it allows you to, kind of switch it up every now and then instead of starting from scratch with a brand new character. Because man, whew, it is hard to play Destiny from the start again. Or at least it was. I know they've updated a few times to speed things along a bit, but man, at launch, yeesh, it was rough. So I like that idea a lot in this game. And again, like we were saying, it looks really, really pretty. And
Hmm.
yeah, definitely good to see. And also, just on a personal note, just good to see BioWare come out with something really awesome looking after a lot of the hits on the chin they've taken these last few months thanks to Mass Effect Andromeda's backlash.
Hmm.
So really good as a BioWare fan to see them come out and be like, "Hey, we're BioWare Edmonton, and there's a reason we're considered like the A team of BioWare. Check
Yep.
this shit out." So really happy to see them
Yep. And so
come out
far, I
with.
mean, we're still pretty early. Matter of fact, we're only half the halfway point at this point. But so far, in terms of the E3 press conferences, that would be considered the game of the show so far. Um,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
we
definitely.
still got Ubisoft, PlayStation, Nintendo to go, but
Yeah.
halfway point, it's there, and it'll probably still end up being top two or three or one by the end of it. So,
Yeah.
um,
Then I guess then that's where Xbox concluded their conference.
yep, that's where they concluded the
After
conference, and we kind of jumped around a little bit, so that's where we already hit the price point again, 500
Yeah.
bucks. OG
There are a
Xbox
few
backwards
other games,
compatibility.
little indie games that were
Yeah, there's
shown
indie
and
games
a little
coming.
bit.
They
So,
also had a scissor reel with a bunch of indie games included in it.
so
I
they're
did
making a
notice that.
sequel to Ori and the Blind Forest, I
Oh
think it was
yeah, or
called.
yeah, I
Yeah, they're
love
making a
Ori and the
sequel to
Blind
Ori,
Forest.
so
Yeah,
cool
I
to see
love that
that.
first game. So a
hmm
sequel for that's cool. I'm actually upset I glossed over that, but
Yeah, no,
I
they're
didn't see
good.
that one
They
coming.
didn't show it a lot. They showed it only for a quick sec.
Yeah, I didn't
And
see that
like I
coming, so
said,
I'm happy about that. Um,
hmm
but yeah, that's pretty much it, man. I mean, there was some other stuff, but like I said, there's just so many little games shown that like you can look that shit up yourself if you want. Um,
Yeah.
so
So I guess now we should quickly touch on Bethesda, what little there
yep,
was
yep. So
on
Bethesda,
Bethesda.
I'm just going to quickly just run down what they shown because I really don't even want to talk about most of it.
Mm.
There was Doom,
Dang.
there was Doom VR, there was Fallout VR, which both those look cool if you got a VR.
hmm If you got a VR.
Um,
But the thing is, they're not coming to PlayStation VR. They're only on the
Oculus,
5, I believe it was.
no.
Whatever,
Um,
whatever Valve's VR system was. So yeah, just saying. You want to play those, it'll take around $800 or so to just get the system going. So there's, yeah, there's that. Um,
I think they showed a card game.
what'd you say?
I think they showed a card game, but I can't remember what it was called.
Oh yeah, they're making a
It was
Elder
a
Scrolls card
Elder
game.
Scrolls card
So
game, yeah. So if you wanted that new Elder
that,
Scrolls, that's what you got. Um,
yeah.
and then Skyrim on Switch. Now this one was kind of noteworthy. they showed the game running on Switch. They added in a few motion controls. More importantly, it has amiibo support. Specifically, at least only confirmed so far, is with the Zelda amiibos. So you can
Yeah,
scan Link.
they showed the Breath of the Wild Link, and when they scanned him in, you got the Master Sword and Skyrim, as along with the Hylian shield, as well as his tunic from Breath of the Wild. So that's kind
Yep.
of cool. I
Yeah, it
like
is.
that. Mm.
Yeah, it's really cool. So so that's coming out. That's supposed to be coming out this year as well. So good for them. And then Evil Within 2 was shown. And
That's cool for
I'm
you.
going quickly because of the time limit we have on here.
I
Um,
understand.
yeah, Evil Within 2 was shown. I got some Silent Hill 2 vibes out of it. I won't lie to you. It is
Mm.
not a continuation of I almost said Silent Hill. It's not a continuation of Evil Within 1, by the way. It's a new story. You're playing as a guy trying to go get your daughter Lily out from hell, pretty much.
Great.
um, yep, comes out October 13th, which is Friday the 13th this year. So
Yep.
that's
And then
good.
they finished off with Wolfenstein 2, Last Colossus or something? Something like that. I forget the official title, but yep. Wolfenstein 2 looked pretty cool.
No, Wolfenstein looked cool. Another one of those
Hmm.
shooters to where it's only a single player game. I enjoy that. Tell a compelling story. Just because you're a shooter doesn't mean you have to be an online shooter. I like that. Um,
I'm telling you, Metro's calling your name if that's what you want. But yep,
um,
cool to
yeah,
see Bethesda
yeah,
still continuing that trend.
yeah. But that's continuing that trend. Wolfenstein, I thought looked really good too. Takes place in New Orleans, which actually, to my knowledge, it's the first time that game's taking place in America. Um,
Yeah, I think so.
so, as you hear my son playing with toys in the background, um,
Yeah,
maybe this
that's
should be
kind of
our
it.
maybe this should be our goodbye jingle.
Maybe so. Could be.
But anyway, so yeah, that's what happened. Devolver Digital, they really didn't announce anything new. They kind of just
Mm.
touched on a few things we already knew was coming. They got a big poster up for Absolver. I think we're going to see that on the PlayStation stage because they didn't really talk about it themselves.
That game looks pretty cool. Looking
Yeah,
interested in that one. So,
so that's all I got for Devolver Digital.
well,
Don't
I'll
highlight
just
Miami 3,
quickly throw
sadly.
our grades for the press conferences and call
Oh
it here.
yeah, yeah. We'll go ahead for Xbox as a conference. Okay, so here's what I think about them. As a conference, I would give it like a 7 out of 10.
Hmm.
But in terms of like significance of making people go to buy an Xbox, they didn't really do that. But in terms of just like an entertaining conference for video game fans to watch, it was like a 7 out of 10, maybe even like an 8. Like it was pretty good.
Hmm.
Uh,
I'm gonna agree with you on that. I'm gonna go 7 myself, just because. Yeah, it didn't really do anything to really convince me to buy a Xbox One X, but nonetheless, it was a pretty enjoyable conference. So
yeah,
I'm happy with it. And they did have some cool looking games, even though they're not exclusive. But
yeah.
you
I
know,
mean, that's like
most of them anyway.
that's how you get the major press conferences started off, right? It's like that.
Hmm.
Um,
Yep.
Bethesda, I'm gonna go like
As the
I'm gonna go
no.
probably like 5, to be honest. Like
Mm.
5 out of 10. I mean, it was really short, which is great because EA wasn't.
Yeah, I'll give
But,
them that. I
um,
gotta give them props for
yeah.
that. At least they didn't drag
I mean, you
us
know
out
what?
much.
I'm gonna bump them up to a 6. Actually, I'll bump them up to a 6
Yeah.
because one, it was
I'll give
short.
them a 6. Yeah,
It
I
was
agree with
short, and
that.
two, they did have 2 games I was curious about. Evil Within 2, which I really like the first one, and then Wolfenstein, which I really want to try. They finished off with the 2 grand finales there, and then everything else
Yeah.
in between was just kind of like,
Everything
okay,
else in between was kind of meh.
meh,
So,
But hey,
mhm.
at least everything, according to them, everything comes out this year, and I'll give them bonus points for that.
There you go.
So
Yep,
there you
I'll
go.
give it a 6 myself.
6 out of 10
So,
on that. Devolver, I'm not even gonna grade them because it wasn't.
yeah.
It wasn't even like a
Or no,
press
I said
conference.
7. I'll drop it down to a 6.
6, yeah. So Xbox, we both agree 7. Bethesda 6, and I think EA was a 4 for me and a 3 for you.
I gave
So
it
we still have a clear loser, and I think someone is really gonna have to fall flat on their face to
which
top
I don't
that.
see happening.
Yeah, I don't see with the next 3 that's left. I don't see anything lower than probably Xbox.
Hmm.
So,
So kudos to Microsoft. Solid performance at
kudos
E3
to
this year.
Microsoft. With that being said, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this one up. We'll be back later on for Ubisoft and PlayStation. Don't know if I'm gonna get that uploaded tonight or not. It might be tomorrow morning. But usually, how PlayStation's goes, it'll probably I probably do want to do that tonight because Nintendo goes so early tomorrow morning
Mm.
that
It's
I
up
want
to
to
you.
get that done. Yeah. So anyway, again, this is Jaren, aka MK Guy, and of course my boy Corgan, the Krogan. We will be back with E3 Day 3 coverage, and it will be uploaded either at the day you listen to this or sometime tomorrow morning, or just listen to them all when you want to. I don't care.
There you go.
Until next time, see you later, and go get that Ninja Gaiden Black and play it on your Xbox One.
Requiesce. God damn it, Pache.